My name is Aaron, and I post content on the internet. And probably all of you do too, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or Flickr or Vimeo or on a WordPress.com blog or Blogger. Everybody puts content up. And I'm not a lawyer, but when you sign up for all these services, down at the bottom there's usually a checkbox you have to check that says, I agree to the terms and conditions of this site. And very few of you have probably ever read those terms and conditions. They're incredibly long and very boring. And for fun, I read part of them. And what I've discovered is that there's some interesting stuff in there that you may not realize you're agreeing to when you post content on various hosted services. I looked at 12 different services, everything from media sharing sites like Flickr and YouTube and Vimeo to social networks, Facebook and MySpace, hosted blog platforms like WordPress.com or Blogger or Tumblr. And what I discovered is the terms aren't all the same. There's not really any one standard that everybody abides by. Facebook's gotten a lot of press in the last week or so, mainly for the purpose of making my talk really difficult to prepare for. And so the information that I'm going to talk about may not be accurate because it wouldn't surprise me if Facebook has changed their terms in the last hour. But Facebook has gotten called out because some people read their licensing terms, and when you post content on Facebook, they have a very broad reach in their licensing term. Facebook's terms of service state that you give them a non-exclusive license to essentially do anything they want with your content, anywhere, including resell it, give it to third parties, manipulate it, and then resell it or give it to third parties. And this includes anything you post to Facebook. Now, Facebook isn't alone. There are other services that have terms that are exactly the same. In the video hosting world, Vidler, which is used by Gary Vaynerchuk and is arguably one of the most popular video hosts for a show like that, has the same type of terms. In the photo hosting world, PhotoBucket gets rights to do whatever they want with all of your photos. When you look at blog platforms, Tumblr's terms actually give them the rights to take all your content and do whatever the heck they want with it. And it's interesting. One term that often comes up when you look at this is people say, well, they want to own your content, or you're giving your ownership, your content away. And technically, you're not giving ownership away. All of the services make it clear that you still own your content, but what you are giving them is a license to use your content. And I don't know about you, but most of the stuff I post on the internet, I kind of want to have a little bit of control about how it's used, especially in a commercial context. I mean, it's not a big deal if somebody goes and, talks about your content, or, they all need rights to use it in some way so that they can redisplay it on their site or such. But you should know what you're getting into. And I've mentioned some services that have a very broad license that lets them do anything they want with your content. Facebook got a lot of heat lately because they changed their terms so that they could do that with your content forever. They've now reversed that decision, and they're back in line with these other services, which essentially say if you close down your account, they lose their right to do that with your content. But as long as it's up there, they can. There's better options. There's other services that aren't that bad. A lot of services have a license that gives them a right to do anything they want with your content, but only on their website for the purposes of using the content on their website, which seems pretty reasonable to me. Bloggers in this category, Flickr, YouTube, WordPress.com specifically says only for the purpose of displaying and promoting your blog. There's some other sites that have very reasonable licensing terms. They're even better. Like Blip TV, for example, offers video hosting, and even on their free account, they won't even display advertising around your content unless you give them consent. SmugMug is in the same boat for photo displays, in that they are advertising free, and you retain all rights to control how that works. And so it's not a case of necessarily saying that certain licensing terms are good or certain ones are bad, or that Facebook is evil. But you ought to know what you're getting into, because if you do discover that somebody, one of these services has decided that your photo would be a great photo to use to promote their new dating service, You probably want to know about that. You're going to be out-lawyered. If you want, that's how to get hold of me. Know what you're agreeing to when you click that little checkbox, because you are giving away some rights, and you should know what rights those are. Thanks.